One of the biggest lies about making money is that you can't buy real estate with little or no money down, and that's a flat out lie. Don't you let anybody ever tell you you can't get started even if you have little resources or small resources. Now let's talk about this marketplace, what's going on now, because the interest rates have gone up recently. They're starting to stabilize, but you know what? There are techniques you can use today to get into this marketplace because it's going to continue to go up. In your lifetime, prices will probably double or triple. So you need to get in now. One of the biggest lies you've been told is that you can't invest in real estate unless you have big money to invest in real estate. You can't do it with little or no money down. That's a lie. You can get started. And I'm going to share with you some techniques right now that you can use in this changing marketplace. We have been waiting for a period of time like this for 10 years. We've been waiting for seller flexibility to be more prevalent. And what has caused the seller flexibility? Higher interest rates. And therefore, the best deals are purchased from highly motivated sellers who are willing to give you flexible terms for a quick sale. One ideal scenario is seller financing, where they can offer you better terms than the bank with a lot less red tape. I love this time. This is the time when you need to be buying with both hands. All the reasons why seller flexibility is so important are the same reasons why buyer flexibility is so important. As a buyer, even if you're cash poor, you likely have personal property, talents, expertise, or equity resources that you can use as part of the down payment instead of cash. And in addition, you can offer to assume the seller's obligations so you don't have to come up with an extra money for your down payment. For example, suppose the seller has a dental bill and you say to the seller, what are you going to do with the money I give for the down payment? And they say, well, we're going to pay off this dental obligation. And you say, well, why don't you let me assume your dental obligation? Therefore, you don't have to come up with all that money as a down payment. You assume the seller's obligations. And that's a powerful technique. Are there things about this house that could help us raise the down payment to buy this house? You'll notice that there's furniture in there. Could I sell off the furniture before I bought it so I could use that money as part of the down payment? What a crazy idea, selling off things you don't even own. Well, yeah, that's what I see when I walk into a property. I see opportunities that maybe you don't see. The seller has a property that might be a way for you to raise the down payment to buy it. Some properties have unique and valuable characteristics that come with their purchase. Selling off furniture or plants or parcels of the land that belong to the property are all options when raising the money for a down payment. For example, I once bought a house. I had very little down payment, and I was looking for options of how to raise the down payment to buy the property in the first place. It was a great little house for a great investment. And I noticed that the lot was very deep in the backyard, and it was all covered with weeds, and they had obviously not taken care of it. And I noticed that the neighbor to the side had also a lot. And I went to the neighbor and I said to the neighbor, would you like to extend your lot where my lot is? Would you like to make your property bigger? Would you like to buy this extra vacant chunk of ground so you can have a pool or a playground or a sandbox or whatever? And so the neighbor said, could I do that? And I said, absolutely. As soon as I finish purchasing this property, I'll deliver a free and clear chunk of land to you so you can extend your fence and make your land bigger. How much would you sell it to me for, he asked. And I said, well, what would you be willing to pay? And he said, $10,000. Well, that just happened to be the amount of money I needed for the down payment. And so I said, done. As soon as I get the property, refinanced with a smaller land size, releasing that back lot so it's free and clear, then I'll deliver the property to you. Put your $10,000 into the escrow, and when the refinance is done, it's yours. Well, guess what? The neighbor didn't know that I was using his money to buy the property that was able to give him the land free and clear. Most people don't even think about options like that because they're not trained to think in creative financing options. Well, I am. And so whenever I walk into a property, I'm looking for all kinds of ways of raising that down payment so I can buy the property in the first place. That's why nothing down really works, because there are so many strategies like this. Do that. The property could be the source of your down payment. Would you like to go and get low interest rates loans like we had just a few years ago when they were 2 and 3 and 4%? Would you like to get a loan like that? Well, guess what? Some sellers bought their property during the low interest rate times, and they became highly motivated, and they want to get rid of that property with that low interest rate mortgage. Is there a way that you could assume that mortgage so that you make those low monthly payments? Well, yes, there is. It's called subject to the existing loan. Now, the banks hate this, and I'm just opening up your mind to the possibility of doing that. You need to do some more research, check online, but using subject to gives you the opportunity to get an existing loan with those low interest rate loans. Would you like some of those? First, you got to find a highly motivated seller, then you got to find that low interest rate loan, and that's what we call paper. Instead of qualifying for your own loan with the bank, you can take over an existing mortgage at a lower rate and finance the equity with the owner. In this way, you keep interest payments to a minimum and can afford a more expensive property. This is a really powerful one. These are just a handful of principles that will help you be bold in a marketplace like this. And that's exactly the timing. Right now, you got to go do it. The recent leveling off of the real estate market has created sellers who are more desperate to offload their house before a market correction. This has created an opportunity to find flexibility in deals, and those who are bold will make big profits. And if you don't do this now, you're going to look back at this time 10 years from now, and you will kick yourself. You'll say to yourself, if I'd only bought more properties, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties during that market correction. That was the opportunity of your lifetime. So don't miss this. You'll kick yourself if you miss this one. If you'd like to learn more about these principles and more, then get a copy of this book. Click the link below. This book is free. Now is the time. There is no excuse.